Thank you all for joining the, I would say, first live stream in this year with Verestro. We would like to share with you today a couple of actually tips, a couple of hints how to make your business more profitable, actually your customers much more loyal to your brand. And let me present it over actually two chosen verticals we were decided to discuss today, which is insurance and leasing companies. Before maybe we go through the slides I prepared for you, maybe you have some questions. You can of course always put the comments here next to the view you can see in the right. There is like a special space for chats, so feel free to drop there any questions you would have. I will answer them at the end of the chat of the webinar. And let me go directly right now to the slides I've prepared. Okay. Okay, so let's. Okay, like normally when I would be like on a video call with someone, I would ask you if you see what I'm presenting. I hope you do. If Justyna is with me, Justyna Miziołek is supporting me at every stage here in the marketing. So if you could write to me on Slack if something is invisible, and I will start to talk. Okay. So what do we have here? Verestro is a fintech as a service company. We actually are acting in the area of fintech as a service vertical in this industry. So basically what we do, it's going to be like a very quick introduction to you, so you would better understand why we are actually coming to you with such an idea of doing maybe a card programs for leasing and insurance. So we, since more than dozen years, we are operating in the market, helping fintechs, neobanks, banks, and all kind of actually players like merchants in the market to establish maybe new wallets, card programs, maybe tokenization of their payment instruments. And for over the course of this 14 years right now, I would say, we were building and adding new microservices to this setup. And at the end, we are right now at the stage of having all kind of services that actually can enable you to build the bank from the scratch. So what you can see in the slide in the right side, we are a provider of a core system. So you can do with us the KYB, KYC of your customers. You can do the data core storage. You can create the balances for the customers. Also issue the cards, not only virtual but also physical cards. Then, if you are really interested in enabling your customer to send and receive money, there's also a possibility to set up the IBANs, the accounts, banking accounts, to send and receive money via SEPA, via SWIFT, local schemes of payments. And of course, we can also provide you to top up your wallets, to top up your cards, also payment gateways, not only in a technological sphere, but also from the licensed area. So we are having within our group 2 licensed electronic money institutions who can provide you the acquiring and card issuing services. If you want allow your customers to send money to someone, of course, you can use the regular SEPA, SWIFT, local methods of transfers money from bank to bank. But on top of that, given that we are co-owned by MasterCard and also cooperating in agnostic way with Visa card, Visa scheme, we are offering a payout to cards, which is a simple service that is allowing customers to send money from the account to the card whenever, no matter where the customer is actually located all over the world. It's going to be settled in 30 minutes. So it's a pretty, I would say, competitive service in comparison to regular transfers, remittances that can take even up to 1 or 2 days to be settled. We are building with QR payments. This is the last but not least, in Send Money, a QR payments solution. This is mostly utilized by our customers in the closed loop systems, where the customer doesn't want to issue cards, but operating on a closed loop. He wants to transfer money easily between his end users, his end user. Then he's implementing a QR payment with our native application that allows to scan these QR codes and simply seamlessly do the transfers. When I was mentioning it in the very beginning, we started from the services like tokenization. So if we jump to the payments area, we are actually, I would say, not being humble at all, that we are high-end experts in the global market of tokenization of cards, to Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Pay, FitPay, and any others, Xpace. This year, we are actually doing some tests with Huawei Pay. It's going to be probably available till second half of this year globally, hopefully. Okay. If you are not actually in a position of having like your own interfaces to end users established, we are also able to provide you a white label native applications for iOS and Android, all kind of like SDKs, APIs, no matter what would be the integration based on, we can actually cover it globally. And maybe I will not mention today the card benefits, as those are not like a major point of our discussion. And looking to the left, I already mentioned all of it while talking, I guess, but not to make you maybe bored. I will just maybe highlight that, yeah, all of the services need to be highly secure. So we are actually compliant with the highest of the highest payment card industry standard, which is PCI DSS. And we managed to reach the level 1 certification. Okay, we're operating globally, as I said. Not all the geographies are already utilizing, leveraging our technology, but we are trying to expand right now into Africa, more into Asia, but currently very well established business we have in Europe, North and South America. I will maybe just take a look in the meantime if there are any questions. If not, okay. I will just maybe write a short message to Justyna to let me know if she can hear me and see everything. I want you to have like a best experience here while listening. Okay. Jumping to like the major, or maybe I will just walk you through simply through the customers we are providing services to. So those are, as I said, mostly fintechs, also banks. But if you look deeper, we have a lot of customers from crypto area, as there is a huge demand on card programs, which is actually a very interesting topic for leasing and insurance companies, due to the fact that those guys found out that card programs and issuing payment cards to crypto is actually opening the services to much wider mass market, I would say, at the end of the day, given that when you are a crypto enthusiast and you want to do a crypto exchange, usually this idea resonates only in the heads of, let's say, early adopters, right? But if you want to make it a mass market product, you need to give the customers a simple access to your services and kind of like a liquidity of the assets that they are having on the current crypto exchange. So card is, I would say, the main tool of providing this value, plus it's widening, it's making the offer much more accessible to the mass market. Okay, we are also having merchants and lending companies and telco companies as the, I would say rather hardware companies in our portfolio. There are some, of course, maybe you would ask me the question. I'm not seeing the questions in the chat, but maybe you could ask me a question regarding the leasing and insurance companies, as it is our today's actually topic. And I need to say that right now, we are in the process of implementing a couple of numerous projects among these verticals. That's why actually I'm coming to you with an idea, maybe to utilize those ideas wider in the world, as we are not having any limits in upselling those technologies to other players in these verticals. Okay. So what's the major problem of the insurance? How do I see actually the major problems of the insurance and the leasing companies right now? And of course, feel free to question it if you doubt any of the theories I will put today. Feel free to jump in maybe and change my mind here. But my humble opinion is that right now, many companies in the area of insurance and leasing are thinking of doing maybe some projects based on cards, or already are in the process of issuing cards to the business partners or to the end users, but they are facing the problem of a very high cost of the card issuance. So the programs are actually are approximately like the implementation cost is approximately from, let's say, 100, 200,000 even dollars up to even $500,000 to do it, usually by means of course, the EMI, where doing it on yourself in-house as a leasing company, so applying for an EMI license, plus building all the technology, building all the competences in-house, it may take up to even like 2-3 years to gather all these puzzles into one view. And at the end, it may cost even up to 2.5-3 million. From our experience, those are the scales of budgets you would need to consider if you want to do it. In terms of doing it with Verestro, and I think maybe we could end up even here, because I would just tell you that like a average cost of doing it with Verestro these days, combining all the costs of implementing the solution, maintaining it, going to production, and then doing the transactional fees, is no more in the first year, from our experience, than $100,000, $120,000 cover all of it, right? Of course, I'm not including here the cost of your competences of your teams. This is something that you need to build on yourself, so I'm not including those costs into this estimation. The second challenge, so it gives you like a sense of how a big project from the cost perspective and the resources perspective it can be. And using EMIs here, electronic money institutions, and technology providers like us, like Verestro, is something that is really making it much more affordable from the day one. And over the course of the project, you may decide later on if you want to do it still with us as a fintech as a service provider, or seeing a huge success of the solution, maybe convert or shift to your own solution. So becoming on your own the principal member of Visa or MasterCard, applying for an EMI and building or your card program and technology on yourself. This is of course possible. Some of the customers, especially those very highly growing ones, are considering such a solution. But at the end of the day, what they are receiving from us is also a huge expertise in the area. So no matter what, and they're not their, let's say, a core business. The card program are not the core business. So from their perspective, sometimes it's just not worth of even considering to go this way, as they will just lose a lot of expertise, advisory from our side, and the cost of building it in-house is quite significant. As I said, there's also a very huge problem of like long and very complex rollout timelines. Usually doing it on your own, the card programs or any other fintech solutions, is no less than half a year, even a year within the companies, huge corporations, what we can see. From Polish, German, let's say, experience, Bahamas, also Asian markets, US market, it's no less than like 6 to 12 months. Where implementation of solutions with the external provider of such programs is no more than 3 to 4 months. And I would say that one of the challenges which are being faced by right now these days by insurance and leasing companies are also that they are operating in a very traditional models. The sales distribution is actually still made especially in European market, still made by means of a regular, let's say, in a regular old-fashioned way, where the insurance or the leasing is being sold by someone like in a physical branch or by the physical person, where not many actually digital tools are being included or leveraged during the process. And what is even worse, over the process of utilizing the product, the customer is not communicating with the provider of a service, insurance or leasing company, via digital channels, even though they have like web services to see, I know, commercials, to maybe log in, maybe pay for some service. It is still, I would say, a quasi-digital approach, where what we want to present today is going to be like a full streamlined process of a life cycle management of a customer via the digital channels, making them much more, let's say, not even loyal, but much more involved into your brand, as they will have it literally in their mobile phones, like in the form of a maybe card or even mobile app. That's what I'm gonna today try to describe. Okay. I'm just taking a look into questions in the comments. Okay, I'm not sure if we can see if you can see the slide. Let me just ask you, Stena. Okay. Because actually I'm showing you the slide, so it should be visible. Right. Let me see if Justina. Yeah, she's typing to me. Just double checking. Okay, super. Thank you, Justina. Cool. So jumping to actually the solution. So what we want to present today is a way to like unlock your abilities by your new opportunities for leasing insurance companies by doing simply a card issuance program. And what I was thinking about, what I'm seeing from the examples of the implementations we are currently doing, is that the insurance and leasing companies are seeing actually opportunity in leveraging mostly the existing B2B corporate relations. So in terms of leasing companies, this is like a huge sales structure of the business developers already cooperating with many corporate customers all over European market, but not only Europe, of course. And those guys are communicating with decision makers on the corporate side. So it's for them, it's very easy actually to upsell any new ideas to these people, as they are having like a direct contact to them. And what they are coming with to us is actually a request maybe to think of doing a kind of a program for those not using non-fleet employees that are not utilizing the corporate cars, right, in leasing companies, that could be using a program, a card that might be utilized in the way of, like, let's call it a mobility card. So the card that can be used by a person, by an employee, simply to purchase like a basic public transportation services, right? So this is simply a solution for those not using a corporate cars. And this is so easy, and so I would say close in the perception of an end user and the corporate customer, that the leasing company is coming with this idea, is bringing this idea to the company, as this is actually covering the same problem the corporation is facing at the end of the day, right? So the communication of their employees. So that could be like an add-on, like additional product to the leasing companies. And we found out that we are able not only to issue the cards for such end users, for such corporate users, but also add some additional, I would say, values on top of that. It would be not only an application to simply receive a card, to see the transactional history of transactions, to add this card to the Apple Pay, Google Pay, but also purchase within the application the tickets for the tramway, for the bus, to communicate, to commute between house and the corporation, or visit the customer. So that's how they think about extending their business. In the insurance companies, it's more about, this is the right thing, is about enable cross-selling of insurance and maybe also leasing services, but they see in the card programs maybe ability not only to issue the cards to the end users, to, for example, to pay out the compensation in case of any incident, but also to maybe provide to the insurance customer a simple application that is allowing you to communicate on a daily basis with this customer, upselling him the new insurances, maybe showing him some loyalty points for good behavior, right? There's a lot of metrics that you can right now put on the application and on your customer to make sure that he is behaving in the way that is required by, let's say, insurance company that is providing a service to such customer. They want to know how do they behave, and do they behave in line with not maybe requirements, it's a bad word, but bad expression, but with the will, let's say. So enabling a card where cards really justify very well downloading the application of certain provider, you are actually getting an access to the customer pocket, to customer attention, by having a push notifications with your application, and also attracting him with simply a card that you can just scan, roll with a thumb, the history of transaction to check what you were purchasing with this card. And it can be also a highly value in terms of buying like transportation tickets in leasing case, or in insurance case, receiving money to this card after the incident, and after being compensated by the insurance company directly to this instrument. Okay. Of course, the card programs and solutions with mobile applications are opening new B2B and B2C revenue streams. What we are seeing is the ability actually not only to issue those products technically, right, and with legally, right, with our licenses, but also on top of that, maybe to generate a new stream of revenues by maybe adding some fees for, let's say, ATM withdrawals, which is something that it is not like, this is like unwanted activity of a customer, or even having like a very small amounts, small commissions, fees for some kind of actions you will define at the beginning with us within the system. The second thing that the last but not least, I would say that what is important from the card program perspective as a kind of a benefit for both verticals, insurance and leasing, is this ability to build a platform to interact with the customers, which many of the players in this field are missing. So the only interaction from my field, share your actually view on it, but my interactions with insurance is twice a year when I'm purchasing the insurance for my car. actually a scooter, a moped. And the second, when I'm buying for insurance for a house. Maybe from time to time I'm purchasing also the insurance for my travel, for my trips, but this is not like common activity. And from this point of view, the level of interactions I have with my bank, where I have a payment card, or my fintechs or lendtech, like buy now pay later provider, or even a merchant that is having a digital wallet incorporated into the marketplace that I'm just visiting to see how much money I have to spend. It's much less interactions in this way, because traditional way of doing a business, of course, is maybe less disruptive, less disturbing to the customer, as he is not being overwhelmed by number of notifications from you. But on the other hand, it's so easy for the customer not being notified on let's say even monthly basis to leave you the next year and maybe choose another vendor of the services. So those are the platforms to communicate, to interact. Card plus, I would say, a kind of an application. It does not need to be a native application. It can be like a web service, but at least something that allows the customer to interact with you by checking what's the balance, what's the history, and so on. This is something that is just that's the thing on which the banks are actually building their ability to interact, to be close to their customers. Okay, so a pause for questions. Okay, I don't know if there are any questions from the group, or maybe I would ask Justyna kindly if you would find out that somebody is writing a question, then I would be happy to see it via notification from Slack, and I would just answer. Okay, thank you. So let's jump to another slide. Okay, so from the leasing companies and insurance companies, I'm seeing it that leasing companies can easily actually leverage the card program or the mobile application to use it as like a hook product. So especially in terms of insurance companies, maybe let's focus here or on insurance, right? I wrote here a leasing, but I meant insurance only. So I imagine like a flow of the customers, not only imagine, but I can see what the players in the market of insurance are doing. So the idea is that if we are missing this stickiness to the brand in the real beginning, customers only buying the product from us, the insurance product from us, where later on he will be just knocking our doors in a year from now. So why not to at the very early stage when he's applying for a product, issue him simply a card that will be maybe not zero balance card at the real beginning, that will be utilized in a way that customer will receive it by means of an email or an SMS, and simply add this card to his Apple or Google Wallet. By means of that, he will not only, or she will not only have a card within the wallet, like Apple Wallet or Google Wallet, but this card can also, on the visual, can have like a simple policy number. So the customer will, from the real beginning, know that this is the card where he will receive the money in case something happens. So look how it actually affects your the way of customers thinking. He thinks, okay, so I already am in possession of something. I don't need to worry in case of something happen. I'm just calling. I'm just sending like a claim, and exactly I know where I will receive all the funds. And even I know how to actually utilize those funds, because it's easy. It's going to be like a card that's already in my place. On the other hand, it's going to play a role of a very quick access to your policy ID, identification number, in case something happened. Usually, I don't know if you have ever been in a situation of having an incident or accident and searching, in a huge stress for a policy number. nobody knows actually where it is. Usually it's like in some documents, maybe a picture of something, where this card will be always available from simple just double tapping on Apple or iOS, or just opening a Google Wallet and seeing the policy number on the card. This is a hook product. I mentioned it as a hook product because actually this philosophy, this logic of building the process of selling an insurance is building a kind of a incentive for those who are not fully trusting actually the insurance companies, as you are actually building from the real scratch, from the real beginning of a relation with your customer, a very transparent and open communication of how the process will gonna look in terms something happened. Really, like I strongly believe that this is actually the way to approach the modern customer, giving him like a full life cycle solution that he sees all behaviors of you as a company providing a service in any edge case. What would be like a benefit, jumping to the communication, to this lovely cookies I put for you on this slide? If we provide the customer not only a card, but we will enrich the offer with a maybe not native app that will be available at the stores, Apple, Google Store, or any other store to be downloaded. You could also, it can be also a web service, a web version of the app, what we also providing to some of the players. This is a perfect place actually to communicate and to show, or like kind of like marketing tools, marketing ads within. So simply by providing such a service, such a web service or native application, the customer is having on a regular basis, not maybe daily because it's still not a bank, right? But in case there will be some transactions, he will be visiting it quite often. And by means of that, the probability of actually getting into your commercial proposal will be much higher. It's much more, I would say, tentative to click a banner within the application you've downloaded than deep diving into the email you received from your insurance company, or even SMS. Yeah. So besides that, you have push notifications, right, in the application, so you can easily, of course, utilize those as well for your purposes. Right. And maybe just taking a look into the questions. No questions yet, nothing of that. Okay, so let me jump further to another topic. So leasing companies. So from the leasing company, the process looks a bit different. So leasing companies, as we were discussing in the real beginning, are having a huge existing B2B net of contacts, corporate relationships mostly with the fleet managers, right? But those people are also very close to HR, to other departments, other divisions within the corporations, and are very likely to open maybe a discussion about providing higher value to the employees, not only those using the corporate cars, but also maybe those commuting to work or commuting to the customers by means of public transportation. So the idea here is to simply utilize one of the products we are providing, which is, we call it a business control, which is allowing you as a leasing company to approach any corporate customer in the market and provide him a dedicated, fully branded with his brand, a mobile application, an administration panel for the HR or fleet manager or whoever it is, to issue on your own payment cards, corporate payment cards that are not requiring from the end user any KYC process. So he does not need to go through this turbulent process of making pictures of himself, of his ID, uploading them, waiting for the approval, but just simply logging into the admin panel and issuing the card with some assigned limit, with some limitations, to merchant codes, to terminal IDs, to any user all over the world, no matter where your employees actually are all over the world. At the end, what you are receiving, and here the use case is about the mobility card. So the idea is that the leasing company manager, business developer, or key account is actually communicating with a corporate customer and just asking him if he's interested in using such a service to issue the mobility cards to the end users, to the employees, right, who are commuting to their work via the tramway or bus. So the card issued by the HR or the fleet manager or whoever is going to be like at the corporate stage is going to be limited to some, like, let's say, amount of money that will be topped up on a monthly basis. Let's say, I know, 100 euro, maybe 50 euro, maybe 20 euro. And this card will be only limited to make transactions within the public transportation. So we will be limiting it by means of merchant codes. The card cannot be used beyond those merchants. We call them merchants, right? Still, because terminal is still, even at the bus, is a kind of a merchant. On the customer side, he's just simply receiving a card via email from his employee, or via even SMS, or he can receive a link in the email to download the application. It is not required, but much more useful, I would say, right? Some of the users, employees, are saying that they are not interested in having an additional application within their wallet, but frankly, within their mobile phone, which I fully understand. I'm also this kind of a user. But if it's going to be valuable for me, then I would be more than appreciating such a solution. So yeah, it can be also a web service. So the customer is simply downloading the application or going to the web service and adding the card he just received from the employee to the Apple Pay and Google Pay, and is using it on a daily basis. In case he will run out of money, he can just simply log into the service and apply for a higher amount. That's all. That's the full idea. And what it gives, like referring to the slide I'm just showing to you. So you as a leasing company are already like leveraging the existing B2B relations, right? Building maybe additional revenues for a company by means of just simply adding an additional service to your portfolio. The third thing is actually enabling you to cross-sell your products of leasing services, your major core business services, to the employees. Because by means of building this app and providing it to the corporate customer, you can use also this ad layouts within the application or web service, no matter what it's going to be, what it is going to be. You can actually promote your products. Let's say you are cooperating very closely with, I don't want to promote anyone, but with Toyota or Volvo, and you have a great offer for Volvo or Toyota cars for the consumers, right? You can also promote it within the app. Of course, it requires the consent of the corporate partner, but this is also the way to build the new revenue and cross-selling channel, right? Right. And of course, last but not least, this is something I was mentioning while talking about the insurance. It allows you, this process also allowing you to create a very efficient recurring digital, let's say, interaction generator. As customer, having such a feature, having such a tool, will be much more willing to utilize your services and communicate with you, maybe even build some kind of like, you will build a recognition about those users, because there will be some interactions. These days, the interactions are the god of everything, right? If you are stealing at least like 2 or 3 minutes of your lifetime, and you are investing it into some communication with some brand in the market, this brand is winning. So that's why I was thinking also of putting this value here. No questions I see. Okay, so let me jump to another point. Okay. And maybe let's get to the point of what we actually can do. So card issuing, maybe in nutshell, a couple of information about what we can do. So there is like a card. This is of course like a visual of a. It can be plastic or the virtual card, but I wanted to tell you maybe more about the features the card could have, what you could maybe consider as interesting. So we are having a license, issuing license for 3 types of BINs: for debit consumer, for debit business, and credit consumer. We can support right now various currencies like Polish zloty, euro, US dollars. And what I meant by writing more coming soon is actually we can cover all of the currencies, especially European ones, by means of a tool we are right now deploying. This is a currency exchange. So no matter where you are located, we can handle it, let's say. As I said, cards can be virtual and physical. And when it comes to payments, we, of course, those cards are covering all type of payments. So from POS through e-commerce to ATMs. And the cards, of course, can be used globally. There's no limitations here. Right now, we are having more than 5 million cards within our database in the form of a token or in the form of a card issued. So we already gather a lot of experience in this area. Yeah, maybe I will just skip the rest here, as there are many different services that you probably won't be interested right now to listen about. But maybe let's agree that if you would have more deep dive question, then just feel free to contact me later on via email or via our LinkedIn, and we will just organize a special dedicated session for you to discuss all the details regarding what can be provided, right, and in what form. And maybe talking about the card program, I cannot actually miss tokenization, because it's like integral part of virtual cards, especially, right? So to make it possible to issue this card so instantly and sending them to email or SMS and adding them to the wallet, tokenization needs to step in to be in place, right? So what we are securing here is not only the process of simply providing you a service of tokenizing quickly the card into Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Fit, or Huawei, but also we can provide you, of course, the visual of an application that can be available for each end user, Android and iOS. We can also support an in-app transaction. So in case you would like to cross-sell, upsell anything within the web service or a native white label application, we can also provide you a solution to pay for those additional services within the application. We provide 2 types of provisioning, and maybe I would explain. Provisioning is a way actually to converting the card from a virtual card into Apple Pay and Google Pay, like in a short way, I would say. That's the process. So we can do it manually. Manually means that you are copying the number of a card and filling in the form at the Apple Wallet to add it, and giving all the consents to communicate with the bank and so on. And at the end, card lands in the Apple or Google Wallet, where push provisioning is allowing you to do it without any like copying, pasting. This is just done automatically. What is interesting regarding the visuals, there are no limits regarding the visuals in the virtual cards world. So if you would like to have some kind of like a visual at the card, no matter what's going to be frank, it can be even a bit offensive. Some people like it. then we can do it. But this principle does not apply to plastic cards, as plastic cards require like a full authorization of MasterCard people. So MasterCard's, let's say, advisor in this area. So if you want to go with a program with only virtual, no matter what you're going to put there, it's going to be accepted. Plastic requires some acceptance here. Okay. Maybe I will just skip it. Those are probably the topics. The rest of the topics described in the slide are more for deep dive sessions later on. Okay. Maybe I would just at the end, really end, highlight that there's much more other values behind issuing cards for other verticals than insurance and of course and leasing companies. But maybe you have someone around that could be maybe interested, so maybe I will just quickly go through it. So for small and medium enterprises, the card programs, and especially this product I mentioned, Business Control, is using widely on purpose of transferring maybe compensations to customers or the employees in real time. So imagine you are having employees that are decentralized all over the world, and you want to pay them like on the 1st of May, the remuneration. You can do it by SWIFT. SEPA will work only in Europe, but let's say, not only beyond also, but in Euro. You can do a transfer by just sending the money through some remittance service or payout from account to cards. But on the other hand, you can issue the card, the payment card to your user, and it's going to be on his phone like in seconds. And while topping up his card, it will be also instant in real time. So actually, it's like the quickest and at the same time the cheapest way of transferring money abroad, especially when you have some relation with this person. In lending area, of course, the cards are being used to access the credit lines and withdraw the funds effortlessly. This is also the best use case. For merchants, it's being used for the refunds. So imagine you are returning the good to the merchant and you want to receive money back. It can be done in the form of transferring money to your account you are using to purchase the product, but also the smart merchants want to keep the money in their hands. So they will not probably transfer your money to your accounts, but they will just simply issue you a card with a limit of this refund value, but it will be also limited to their only merchant terminal IDs. So you can utilize those funds only within their ecosystem of shops, which is a smart way to build a new revenue revenue stream. Of course, cards are used by businesses to build more brand loyalty, where the business is using the branded gift cards. Right now, we are as a company receiving every year the cards for Christmas that are being topped up every time there is some holidays in Poland, and as we are one of the countries with the most actually holidays in Europe, let's say with a 3 days off, we are receiving quite a bit. Travel agencies can use the cards for seamless transactions to send money abroad. And automotive is actually is also interesting vertical, as automotive is going these days into tokenization of the cars. So probably in a couple of years from now, maybe half a decade, we will see that the cars will be already having a tokenization tool within their mirrors or somewhere like in the front, that could easily and seamlessly allow the user to pay for, let's say, for a highway or for tanking the car or for loading the battery seamlessly without any action to be taken, because the car will be paying on himself. So this is the thing. Last but not least is, of course, the European payment license that we can actually provide to those who are already having a card programs in their mind, doing some closed-loop solutions, maybe looking only for the coverage from the legal point of view and want to have a legal entity behind to take care of the licensing part, and we can also help in this area. Okay, maybe I will skip it and leave it for further steps, for further discussions, as we are running out of time right now, only 2 minutes left. So the idea of the process is pretty simple, right? It's choosing product, choosing delivery model, and going live, and having full support later on, which is, maybe I will stop here. Going live, and the third stage is very interesting, as in the case you are doing everything in-house on yourself as a leasing company, insurance company, or no matter from which vertical you are, you will be forced to keep maintaining the system later on, right? Which is kind of a pain in the ass, right? Because you need to handle a lot of issues, problems while having a card program, having managers responsible for AML, for sometimes cashbacks. I wish you wouldn't have another problem with frauds, which are like the worst, actually, worst case scenario for the payment institutions. So in such cases, you need to maintain everything on yourself. You need to take care of it. You need to build like a structure of managers to manage the program. While cooperating with an external provider like Fast, like us, you are doing everything on your own. With not on your own, but with us, right? So you are outsourcing all the problems to our teams, to Verestro, to Quico as an electronic money institution, or Fenig as an acquiring institution, and we are covering it for you. Okay, maybe tips to avoid problems when implementing card issuing I will leave for later on, as we already run out of time, but most of these facts were mentioned before. I will share with you later on this presentation via email, so you can deep dive and ask me all the questions which are popping up in your head, and I will be glad to answer them. Okay, those are just the reasons why to cooperate with us: the speed, the cost, stability, flexibility. This is something we really count on. So always to be flexible and adjust the solutions to your needs. Simply to allow you to build your new revenue stream as quick as possible. And we are powered by Visa and MasterCard mostly. Thank you very much. If you want to learn more about us, jump to Developer Zone. Here is simply the QR code to scan and to deep dive more about our technology. And hear you soon.